I never thought that asking my mother one question could change everything I believed about my family. It was late afternoon. The sky outside our window had a soft orange glow, and the house was silent except for the ticking of the clock on the wall. I sat across from her at the dining table, staring at the lines on her face, lines I had never taken the time to truly notice. I asked, "Mom, why did you make that decision?" At first, she didn't answer. She just closed her eyes and pressed, her hands together as if praying for strength. Then she looked at me, and I saw tears she was holding back. Her voice trembled when she said, "You really want to know?" I nodded. I thought it would be a short answer. I thought she would brush it aside like always, but she leaned back in her chair, sighed deeply, and when she began to speak, I knew this was not going to be simple. She told me about the nights when she cried herself to sleep because she didn't know how to pay the bills. She told me about the sacrifices she made that no one ever saw, the meals she skipped so I could eat, the times she walked miles because she couldn't afford the bus. She spoke of debts I never knew she had cleared, favors she had begged for, and jobs she had taken just to keep us alive. Her words felt like stones dropping into water, each one heavy, each one rippling through me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt tight as she confessed truths I never imagined. She told me about people I had trusted who had betrayed her, friends who turned away when she needed them, family members who judged her but never lifted a hand to help. And then she told me something I wasn't ready for, secrets about my father. Secrets that shattered the image I had carried of him all my life. She said she had been silent all these years, not because she wanted to lie, but because she thought silence was the only way to protect me. I stared at her, my hands trembling on the table. My mother, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, was suddenly a stranger, telling me stories that sounded like someone else's life. And yet, the pain in her eyes told me every word was true. She leaned forward then, resting her elbows on the table, her voice stronger now, as if years of silence had finally cracked open. She told me about the choices she faced when she was younger, choices no one should ever have to make. She told me how she gave up dreams I never knew she had, dreams of traveling, of studying, of living a different life, because she became a mother too soon, with too little and no one to support her. Her voice broke when she said, "I wasn't ready. I was scared. But when I held you in my arms, I knew I had no choice but to fight." Tears stung my eyes. I wanted to say something, but the lump in my throat made it impossible. She went on, painting vivid pictures of nights when she sat awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she would make it through the next day. She described the humiliation of begging landlords for more time, the exhaustion of working double shifts, the loneliness of having no one to lean on, and still, she smiled through it all in front of me, so I would believe everything was fine. I thought back to my childhood, to moments when I saw her smile after long days, to the times she said, "Don't worry, everything will be okay." Now I realized those words weren't promises, they were prayers. Then she told me about the decision, the one I had asked her about. She said she had been forced to choose between her own happiness and my safety. She chose me. And though it broke her, she never regretted it. She looked me in the eyes, her voice steady now. "I stayed quiet all these years because I wanted you to live free from the shadows that haunted me. But you're old enough now. You deserve to know the truth." My hands shook as I reached for my glass of water, but I couldn't drink. My mind was spinning. Every story she told was like a knife cutting into the life I thought I knew. The room felt smaller as her words filled the space. I saw her, not just as my mother, but as a woman who had survived battles I never knew existed. She told me about the betrayals, the losses, the moments when she almost gave up. She confessed that there were days she hated herself, nights she questioned whether she was strong enough. And then she said something that broke me completely. Everything I did, every sacrifice, every painful decision, it was because I loved you more than I loved myself. My chest tightened. Tears blurred my vision. I wanted to speak, to thank her, to apologize for never seeing her pain. But my lips wouldn't move. She smiled weakly through her tears and said, "I don't expect you to forgive me for the things I hid. I just hope one day you'll understand why I did it." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. I reached across the table and took her hands. For the first time in my life, I saw her not as just mom, but as a human being. Flawed, scarred, but unimaginably strong. That day, my world shifted. Her words left me speechless, but they also gave me something I had never had before: the truth. And though it hurt, it made me love her more deeply than I ever thought possible.